Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Karen. Welcome to my channel. And I say good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you're watching this. This is a brand new segment of my channel that I am calling What If Tarot. I've decided that of all the wisdom I've learned over the last 9 months, how best to communicate what I've learned to the right people at the right time. And so, for as much as tarot cards and oracle cards have been a hugely valuable tool to me, I thought I would offer it to you in my own way. So, What If Tarot is going to be a recurring segment on this channel where I combine my own blend of channeling spirit through tarot, through oracle cards, combined with your own intuition and imagination and the power of storytelling, because I am a firm believer in the power of storytelling to shed light on our lives and to spark something deep within us that resonates, that grabs your attention, that makes you wonder, what if, right? And so I'm a storyteller. In honor of today's kickoff, I wore my Nancy Drew t-shirt, my favorite sleuth from my childhood. And so if storytelling and fiction, um, if you have any connection with that, I hope that you'll get a lot out of this. But what if is it's one of the most powerful storytelling prompts that novelists use, but it's also a really powerful prompt for your own life as you navigate trying to figure out what the hell your life is all about and to help you problem solve. It can be a really powerful tool. So, between the powerful tool of tarot and the powerful tool of your own intuition and imagination, we're going to dive into pulling a few cards and seeing what the wisdom of spirit can prompt within you to help you find your own innate power and remember who the hell you are. Because at the end of the day, and it's so funny after watching these videos back of myself, I've discovered that I say at the end of the day like a lot. So I'm going to try to remember to find different ways to say that. So um, I am also going to use one specific deck, and maybe I'll change it up as we go. But one specific deck that is also kind of inspiring this what if approach to problem solving for our lives, right? This beautiful, beautiful deck that I got called Tarot of the Divine, inspired by deities, folklore, and fairy tales from around the world. It is an absolutely beautiful deck. And I thought I'm actually going to be using um, the the book to help explain, because each of the cards is inspired by a different fairy tale or fable or folk tale, what have you, from around the world. So I've already pulled the cards for today, but let me go back and just tap in here for a minute. Mother, Father, God, spirit guides, angels, ancestors, please help me to channel your wisdom for the collective that is gathered today um, to see what if could make a difference in their lives. Thank you. Okay, so the very first card that I pulled is the Fool. What a great way to start this. So the Fool is typically about new beginnings and taking a leap of faith and starting something new. So perfect way to start this new segment. Let me read you, though, what the book says about this Fool card. So this is based on The Little Mermaid, Can you see that? The Little Mermaid, which is actually a Danish fairy tale out of Denmark. The fool rests on the pinnacle of a decision. She is ready to dive out of her subconscious and into the physical world, to transform from an animal into a human. She is carefree and excited by a new life, regardless of warnings. So the meanings behind the Fool card are typically beginnings, possibilities, impulsiveness, innocence, and a free spirit. So my question to you is, what if you took a leap of faith and were impulsive and powered the free spirit within you and started a new beginning? What would that look like in your life? What if you actually took a leap of faith? What would that look like for you? Right? Everybody comes to, everyone's at a different fork in the road, so to speak. Are you at a fork in the road where you have been trying to figure out which way to go, how to start over? So keep that in mind and let those questions turn over in you as we're going through the rest of the reading. The next card that I pulled is the Judgment card. Now, it's interesting because the Fool card in tarot is the very first card in the major arcana. And then Judgment is card number 20, so almost at the very end of the cycle. And so it's like something is almost coming to completion at Judgment. Now, this card is based on the story of Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, from Chinese mythology. Judgment is the reckoning, an ending before the start of a new journey. Past actions and decisions determine future events. If you haven't learned your lessons, you are doomed to repeat your mistakes over and over. So upright, this card means improvement, forgiveness, a change of perspective, absolution, and rebirth. So what if, as you're contemplating this new beginning by being the Fool, and when the cycle is over, it starts again at the Fool, right? So what if you were able to learn your lessons from the past? What if instead of being stuck in a cycle, you decided to take a new road? You decided to learn your lessons and move past them so you could start again. What would that look like in your life? Where have you been stuck? Where is it time for you to really take a deep dive and look within to see, all right, let's do some self-assessment. What do I need to learn out of where I've been, so that I can start anew? All right. The third card, let me find it in the book. Okay. Now, the third card that I pulled is the Eight of Coins, which is the Eight of Pentacles. In this deck, it's called Coins. And however I pulled it, it was in the reverse position. All right. Now, normally what the Eight of Pentacles, Eight of Coins means in the upright is hard work, dedication, kind of have your nose to the grindstone and you're learning, you're putting in a lot of work, a lot of positive work so that you can move forward. In the reverse position, though, it's more about repetition, poor quality, kind of being stuck, right? Putting in a lot of work, but not really getting the payoff for it. Now, in this, and I'll hold it upright so you can actually see the picture better. This particular Eight of Pentacles, Eight of Coins, is based on the story of the Six Swans, which is a German fairy tale. The Eight of Coins represents the long haul, the slough in the middle of a project that needs to be completed. The little princess needs to keep weaving nettles in silence if she wishes to set her cursed brothers free. So again, normally it means like craftsmanship, commitment, determination, ambition, concentration. But in reverse, it's repetition. It's like working and working, but you're not getting anywhere, right? You're putting in a lot of effort to keep going around the same cycle. So what if, just going back to that judgment card a minute ago, what if you decided to do something new, to try something new, to break out of the cycle that you've been in? What would that look like for you, right? What would that mean if you were able to do that, right? And then the fourth card I pulled, where'd you go? Beautiful. All right. Great card, the Queen of Wands. Now in this deck, the picture here is from the story of Pele in Hawaii, which is a Hawaiian deity. The Queen of Wands represents a fiery force. The volcano goddess Pele's rages can be destructive, but her blessings are just as powerful. She is the creativity of dance, the nourishment of rich soil, and the chaotic force of an explosion. She's all about optimism and confidence and owning her power, right? So what if you were able to, again, going back to the beginning of the story, you're looking for a fresh start as the Fool. You've gone inside and done self-assessment and seen that you really need to make some changes in your life with the Judgment card to the and I'm sorry, I keep not looking at the camera because I just moved my camera setup around and it's in a different place. So, um, uh, but you've taken the look inside, put yourself under judgment, so to speak, right? You've been assessing, where do I need to change? What do I need to do differently? You saw, right, with the Eight of Pentacles reversed, that you've been stuck and you've been, stuck in a loop, a cycle that, you know, you can see you need to break out of. How do you do that? Well, what if you embodied the Queen of Wands power, right? And you found that fire within you, that motivation to make a change, to really do something different with your life, to find that motivation and that fire, because the Queen of Wands can do anything she damn well pleases. She owns her power. She has the confidence, right? So what would that look like for you? Where do you where do you have passion? Whatever, and sometimes it can be hard to find. Believe me, I know what that feels like. So if you can find the fire of Pele within you, what would that look like in your life? How could that actually make a difference in your day to day, that could move you forward out of where you've been stuck? Okay, think about that. And then finally, I ended with a card from a different deck called Dragon Path Oracle cards. And, how could we have, I think this might be one of the official decks of this What If Tarot segment, because, I mean, they're dragons, guys. They're dragons. And for somebody who has been a huge fantasy lover her entire life. So I will totally geek out in front of you. Big fantasy reader. I was writing a fantasy series. And when I was growing up, besides loving Nancy Drew and Harriet the Spy and anything having to do with mysteries and sleuths, I loved Encyclopedia Brown. but fantasy was a huge part of my life. And um, I read The Hobbit and then the Lord of the Rings trilogy 7 times each. So that's 4 books, 7 times, um, before I graduated from high school. I even had the um, Middle Earth Concordance, right? I was very committed to to Tolkien. Um, but there's huge, and obviously dragons too, right? The power of our imaginations is a God-given power. Excuse me. Hold on a sec. We we were given imaginations for a reason. Our imaginations help fuel the passion inside of us, the ability to think what else we can accomplish with our lives. Imagination is not a dirty word, and some people think they have no imagination. I call bullshit on that. Every single one of us has that ability. So, and embrace the joy of it, embrace the fun of it, and just think to yourself, what if, right? So, what if dragons were real, right? Well, this dragon, her name is Destiny. Can you see her? Isn't she gorgeous? So here's what Destiny is coming to you to say today. Destiny is a mighty dragon of great authority. She has no time for fluffiness, ego, excuse me, or human dramas, as she puts it. She and her kind have been hidden in the depths of the earth for eons, waiting for us to be ready to take back our power and stand in our individual and collective might. She wants to galvanize us into action so that we stand strong against adversity and, if necessary, fly in the face of authority to challenge systems that are no longer fit for purpose. She says, if you want change, you need to be that change. Now, what a perfect card for the Fool and Judgment and the Queen of Wands, right? If you want change, you need to be that change, not wait for others to do it for you. You do not need their permission to live your life your way, nor can they absolve you from responsibility. It is your life, your journey, your path. You walk it your own way. Light and fluffy will not create lasting changes on your planet. Have you ever tried moving a large square flat bottom stone uphill? It is impossible. As humans, you need to come together and work in union, not isolation. Take responsibility for who you are, hold the vision of what you wish to create, and work together with others. We are facing periods of change and at times adversity. We, as people of Earth, can only achieve a more secure future if we come together and work for the good of all. We can be the change. The time for division has passed. It is time for us to unite, collaborate, and work in unison. And Destiny. So this is definitely has been a reading about personal change and personal, owning your shit. If you saw my last video about, getting real with yourself and owning your own shit, um, this definitely kind of segues from that. But it's about new beginnings. It's about you can be your own new beginning. If you take a look inside, figure out what's going on, have the courage to call it what it is, and Own the fact that you've been stuck on a wheel of some sort, and the new beginning can be yours if you embrace the power that is innately in you. It's already in you. Um, Spirit wants each of us to remember who we are. We came here to earth to accomplish something. And so owning it for yourself, but then as Destiny pointed out, you know, it's that become the change that you want to see in the world, right? So we first have to do it for ourselves, and then we can come together and change the world. It has to start within each one of us first. So that's it. That's it. Ask yourself, what if today? What if I did something different? What if I chose a different perspective? And what if I actually poured into myself instead of pouring a hot mess of goo all over myself, right? Pour into yourself, pour love into yourself. And that's it. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you back here next time for another episode of What If. Take care. Peace in, peace out.